We've been making arrests left and right. So far, we made 562 arrests and seized 144 illegal guns just in the short time we've been in Memphis.
And many of these people are career criminals.
President Trump, last night alone, we made 91 arrests, 19 firearms off the streets, and one was a warrant for a homicide, and 4 sex offenders who had active warrants. One was a sex offender on a child. Everything we did in Memphis was worth it, in my opinion, for that one arrest. Think about that. We got a child rapist off the streets, but yet we've made 562 arrests and still going strong in Memphis. Just what we did in DC.
We saw the shooting in Dallas at that facility, so we're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people to protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets. But what I'm also doing, sir, is, and with your authority, is we're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're gonna not back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're gonna be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there.
Despite the Democrat shutdown of our government, our law enforcement officers are out there working without paychecks, round the clock, to keep and make America safe. Secretary Hegseth and I were recently in Memphis. We had 1,100 law enforcement officers in one room with us. The Memphis PD, they were the happiest to see us, don't you think, Secretary Hegseth, of anyone. We had ATF, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals. I'm not sure if our park police were there. We had Treasury, Secretary Besant, and of course we had Secretary Noem's Homeland Security, all working together with the Guard. They were so happy to have us there. We've been making arrests left and right. So far, we made 562 arrests and seized 144 illegal guns just in the short time we've been in Memphis.
And many of these people are career criminals. And when you take them out of a place, your crime rate just goes down. These people commit crimes every single day. They're sick. And we're taking them out. In some cases, we're bringing them back to their countries where Biden allowed, with the stupid open borders that we had in our country, to come in, but they're being brought back to other places, or they're being put in jail, but they're career criminals.
President Trump, last night alone, we made 91 arrests, 19 firearms off the streets, and one was a warrant for a homicide, and 4 sex offenders who had active warrants. One was a sex offender on a child. Everything we did in Memphis was worth it, in my opinion, for that one arrest. Think about that. We got a child rapist off the streets, but yet we've made 562 arrests and still going strong in Memphis. Just what we did in DC. But it's because it's all of us. It's a team working for you to make America safe, all together, round the clock.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pam.
Thank
You're doing
you,
a great
President
job.
Trump.
And it's amazing that we're not getting cooperation from Democrats. It's like, it's a new issue. You know, we have all the old issues of the wall and the border and all of the things, men playing in women's sports they still want that, transgender for everybody. All these issues are so crazy, but we have a new one. It's called crime. We stop crime and they allow crime. They want crime. It doesn't make sense. I think it's as ridiculous as the other things that we talk about all the time. But I've added it onto our list, a 5-letter word called crime. We stop it, and they actually incite it. It's crazy. You would think they'd want them. You'd think they'd want Kristi and Pam and all of the people. Well, if we needed the military, people will be there. We've got a massive military. We have the best numbers we've ever had for recruitment. We have a lot of people now. We have people that can't get into them. In a great economy, they want to be soldiers again. A year ago, they didn't want to even think about it. Same thing as with police and firemen, everything. They want to join. They're proud of our country again. Kristi, go ahead, please.
Well, sir, thank you for your leadership and for deploying all of government to help us keep our country safe. You have talked extensively about how threatened our ICE officers are, but all of our law enforcement out there. And we saw the shooting in Dallas at that facility, so we're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people to protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets. But what I'm also doing, sir, is, and with your authority, is we're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're gonna not back off. In fact, we're doubling down and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there. And then I was there a few days ago and looked at some facilities that we can deploy more law enforcement out of. Because what they're trying to do with these riots and violence is distract us and keep us from going after those murderers and rapists that are out in the streets. And then I was in Portland, went out and back on Tuesday and met with the governor, met with the mayor, met with the chief of police and the superintendent of the highway patrol. They are all lying and disingenuous and dishonest people because as soon as you leave the room, then they make the exact opposite response. So we're looking at new facilities to purchase. They're in Portland too, and we're going to double down. And I told them if they didn't meet our demands for safety and security on the streets and work with us, then we were going to bring in more federal law enforcement. So I want to thank Pete and the Department of War for all their help. They've been fantastic, but while we fight litigation and work with Pam on that, we're going to send more of our resources and men and women out there to keep everybody safe. So no worries. What we see in DC and what we see in Memphis for benefits for people in the safety and security, we'll see that in Chicago and Portland.
And the numbers in Memphis, it's only a week, but the numbers have been amazing, I understand.
That's exactly right.
The crime numbers are way down.
Fantastic, and it shows what a partnership can be between local law enforcement and the federal government. And if we have to do it the hard way in Portland and Chicago, we will. But the people demand
And
the
President
safety.
Trump, my lawyers are in court right now as we speak for you, arguing in Chicago and Portland to keep them safe, to bring in the guard. The government doesn't want it there, but we do. We're going to keep their citizens safe, thanks to
The
you.
people want it. I don't understand the politics of it. I don't understand why Pritzker is trying to protect people that are
They're more
really
scared
bad.
of, they're more scared of the anarchists that are on the street and the politics of it than they are of doing the right thing.
I think they're afraid.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
they're
they're
scared.
threatened. They don't tell us, but I think Pritzker's threatened by people. Because there's no other reason that this could be possible, that they don't want to have a safe Chicago. And we can solve the problem very quickly. And we're doing that anyway, regardless of if he doesn't want it or if he does want it, we're doing it anyway. So make sure.
I asked the mayor that himself. He said that Portland was perfectly safe, a beautiful city, no problems. And I said, well, why did you clear the streets for me today then and build out a 4-block radius to make sure I could get in and out of here? And these people on the street screaming death to ICE. There's graffiti that says Molotovs melt ice. We have the guillotines. We're going to use them.
Portland's almost different. It's like anarchists.
It is. It really is.
You know, it's really different than a lot
It's
of the
awful.
others. This is a sick situation, but those are anarchists. Those are people that want to overthrow government. They're really degenerates. And we're finding out who is supplying all of those beautiful signs and everything
Well,
else.
Scott's been fantastic. His team finding the financial networks is great. That's what
Okay,
gives everybody.
Scott will do that. That's easy for Scott.
We got a great team, sir.